Okay, I'm gonna try Unity. Try to do a Unity project today. What it's going to be is a basically a run over of how to get started with some basic assets. It's this one's going to be no more than me going in and uh, loading some stuff that is common with that basically comes out of the box and try it out. So this hopefully I'm going. Hopefully everything will work. And I tried this before, and the first time I ran this thing, that's what I forgot to do. I forgot to hit assign packages. Okay, so first time I forgot to do some things, so hopefully this one will take. So I'm going to call this test 3 because I already did a test 2 and it didn't work. Test 3 Unity, and it's going to be 3D, and I'm going to assign some packages to it. And we'll start off. Let's see. I know I want characters. I don't think I need cameras from now. If I do, I can always add on later. I want environment because I want to be able to run some environmental stuff. So let's see, prototyping. I think we can get away with that. I think if there's any other assets that we need, I can always add them later. I'm tempted to add vehicles. Well, we'll go ahead and add vehicles. There's a couple of vehicles. I'll throw some in just for fun. And with that, I can go in there and say create project. Here we go. Believe it or not, this is a good sign. Now, we got our display up. Now, this is the Unity 5 display. Now, one of the ways that I like to deal with things is, I have my little is basically to I have my hierarchy. I got project. This is all the assets that are in the project: vehicles, Unity. I got a frame rate counter. If I want to add it in purely for test. Environments. This is like terrain assets, which is one of the things I'm going to use because I'm going to use this thing called surface textures. This is right here. I'm going to create the terrain for this project from scratch. It'll probably be the only thing that I actually create in this tutorial. I'm going to go into characters and show you what characters that we have. We have the first person character, and it is a disembodied camera basically. And it is basically a prefab designed for you to have a first-person shooter in the game. Now you also have a thing here called a roller ball. It is just your basic run-of-the-mill ball. Let's see if I can get it up here. Model this ball. Please show me ball. Scripts, prefabs. Ah, there it is. There's the ball. If I went back and did prefabs in here, the first person controller, nothing there. They call it rigid body first person controller, and this one here is probably the first one I'm going to use. And in addition to that, we have the third person, the other character in our little play here. This is the AI third person controller, and this is just third person controller. I'm going to bring this into the game, and I'm going to disable any connection to it. If I don't, this guy will run all around, and I will not see where he's going, and I want him to be stable. Today he's going to be my guinea pig, the guy I'm going to throw a ball at, which is the whole goal of this little tutorial, is to basically create a very simple game where I could toss balls at things, and hopefully by the time I get done with these videos, I can make this guy so he dodges the ball and maybe picks up the ball and throws it at me. And if I'm really good at this thing, I could possibly get a network and get somebody else out there to play the game with me, and therefore he'll be out there and throwing balls at me, and I'll be dodging them. And so this will be a simple game of dodgeball. But before I do any of this, I'm going to start with the first basic thing that I need, and that is a terrain. Without a terrain, we don't have if you look in here, we have a perfectly great sky in this in this thing. This is the scene. Before I forget, Unity is made up of projects, which are made up of scenes. And what you can do is, in the beginning, you have one scene, and it's like maybe the first level of play, where you have a certain thing, and then you have another scene, which is maybe the second level, and so on and so on and so forth. And sometimes you have an opener, and sometimes you have a closer, and that's basically how you create certain things that, you know, play in your narrative in your game. So this is the scene editor. This allows you got these little controls on the top. You can move things around, you can rotate them, you can scale them. And I haven't quite figured out what this guy does, but he does some very odd form of scaling. I apologize. And of course this allows you to move around your world around. And right now I'm about right here. And I'm going to go and grab, I'm going to go ahead and create, let's start by creating a terrain. So I'm going to go in here, game object, 3D game object, terrain. And voila, you got a terrain. Well, that's great. But if I back off and show you our little terrain world, you will notice that it's not at the center. My camera is down here somewhere. My terrain is over here. In fact, you can see over here in the gaming area, the terrain has appeared, but it's not in the center where I like. So I'm going to click, go here, I'm going to click on my terrain, and I hit this, and already I have my little moving arrows over here, so I can move the terrain around, or any other object for that matter, as you will see later. I can rotate it. That's the thing there that sets it up for rotate. I can scale it, and then there's this funny little tool which I haven't quite figured out yet. Somebody probably should tell me. Be more educated. But that's okay. For now, I'm just worried about centering my little patch of earth into a nice little area, and I'm going to kind of go halfway here. Just kind of thumb it and go right here, because this isn't rocket science. This is gaming. In gaming, we can be artists. And with that, we are set. And I can zoom in a little bit. So you can stare down here in our gaming area, and our gaming world is kind of dull. It's also going through and it's going through and it's trying to, I guess it's baking at this time. So anyway, one of the first things I got to do is I'm going to give this terrain a very simple texture, so it doesn't look white, because I'm going to have enough, because when we're done, I'm going to have enough objects of color or lack thereof in this gaming environment. And so what I'll do is, up here I got this little thing, and this here creates mountains. This here, let's see if highlight is supposed to pop up with a thing, but okay. Let's see, paint texture, smooth highlight, height, paint height, raise lower terrain. Well, let's first things first. Let's add some basic grounds. So we can start off with. And for that, I'm going to go into, first thing I'm going to do is go over to surface textures, and I'm going to go over here, and this is a very nice grass, and there's a rocky grass over here. There's a mud rocky that I could use, and there's the texture for it. But I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to use this green thing here. So I'm going to click back on my terrain. I got this little thing here called Edit Textures. I click on that. I'm going to add a texture. And this will be your typical texture. And I'm not going to change any of this stuff here. But there's two things I could do. I can either grab one of these or go over here, or there's a thing down here called Select. And I'm going to go over here and say Select a texture, and it will pop up. And eventually, ooh, and there's a lot of good stuff here, by the way. It's grass. ground. Well, it's gonna be a while of me choosing that. Heck, I'm just gonna grab this and I'm just gonna put it here. And so now I know what I'm getting. Ha ha ha. I'm gonna go over here and go to here. Let's drag this out. Oh, much easier to deal with. The thing here says grass. Ah, right here. Select that. There. And so I got grass and I got grass. And I go and say add. And whammo, I got grass. My terrain is covered in grass. Now, we got ourselves a pretty flat terrain, which is, I don't know about you, but to me it's pretty dull. Let's see what we can do. Let's see. I can grab this and let's see. We'll stick to that. And let's get funky. Let's draw a little mountain here. Just continue. And then go here and go. Now I should over here. And this says smooth height. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to hit this. And this should smooth some of the height. Make that thing a little more real. Well, it's real enough for now. Actually, oh yeah, I can see it happening. There it goes over here. A little more rounded out. I'm going to work on this guy a little bit. Now, I've never tried this before, but let's see. Let's see if we can define the tree. Add tree. Tree free pad. Do I need to add that? Let's go and see if we can add an asset. Environment effects, characters, camera. I guess we didn't get trees this time. Import new asset, export package. Well, I'm probably let's see, tree. Whoa. Now there's a tree. It's white. No, it's not even. It has got to be the strangest tree. That's a tree, folks. I think I'll leave that for a different tutorial. You know, something tells me that there's ground offset. Tree seed, let's check that. Oh, kind of does a little dance around. And let's see, 1/8 resolution. You think this would come up with, well, let's see, for the time being, gotta give him a home someplace, so for the time being I'm gonna pull out and I'm going to put him over there. I think I'll probably do a video in trees once, as soon as I figure that out. Let's see, leaves. Random frequency. Let's see, geometry. I have a feeling this is going to turn out to be a very odd looking tree. We'll see how it goes on, how it works out later. Let's see, let's go back to terrain and go back. Oh, tree did something. As I say, I think this is going to be a very odd looking tree. We'll see later when we walk up to it. Okay, well, one of the things that they taught me in the Unity class is, of course, when you click on any object that's going to not fall through the thing, you want to make sure that, of course, the collider is set. And let's see, of course this is set by static. Everything and set the static. Terrain could go over here, I think, and go my train, but I'm not too sure if that'll work. Rename. Just for the sake of argument, I'll call it my terrain. Yeah. Well, I think that's about it. Let's see. There is a few other settings here for our terrain, for like wind and such, that's useful to have. But for now, I'm satisfied everything being in the right place. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go there to tree. Let's see if I can get the Gross scale 1. I just got a feeling like there's something here I'm forgetting. LOD multiplier. Shape. Ah, that looks promising. We'll see when we get into gaming mode. We may fix that. Radius, smoothing, wind, mesh. Let's see, do we make it a static? Let's make it static. Maybe it will fall through the floor and we won't have to worry about it. Let's get on to our characters. Since we're pretty convinced that we have ourselves an environment. In fact, we could play it. Let's go ahead and play it. This will take it a little bit the first time. But there you go. And of course our tree is just a big lump of white in the corner over there. Oh well. Now that we have our terrain, and as you can see we got ourselves a really cool sky. Now I am more comfortable about going down here, and I want to replace this camera with our first person shooter, and Unity has very conveniently provided us with a first person shoot character that we load into the game by going in and just grabbing. You can just grab a character here. It already has a camera attached to it. And we'll just grab him. And I'm just going to throw him into the game. Like so. And automatically you can see that this character got dropped somewhere in space. I'm not quite sure where. And our game is already assumed that this camera is the main camera. So this camera here is redundant. And we can simply delete him. Or it. Delete. So now I'm going to focus on a first person shooter, and there he is. And the first thing I want him to see, let's go up here, see where he is in relation to everything else. First of all, let's take I'm going to put him about here just for grins. It's a good area. And then I'm going to grab this, and somebody please tell me at some point in life. Oh yes, there is. There is a rotation. Right now the rotation is at -180. I'm just going to set it at 0. And voila, I got this wonderful view of my mountains, and that's what I want to see to begin with, because they're such nice mountains. In fact, they're so nice mountains, I'm going to back off, and I'm going to go back to here, and I'm going to put this a little closer to my mountains, like so. And I like that so much that I'm going to do one thing first. I'm going to save a scene. And I'm going to call it 3. SC any main scene 001. Just hit save. And then I'm going to turn around, and when I'm at it, pardon me, I'm going to save the project. And the project was already named, just the scene was not. So now everything's saved. So if everything went belly up right now, we'd still be safe. But of course it isn't. It's pretty stable. And here we are. And the camera allows you to look all around. And I'm just twiddling the mouse right now. And then I can go over and walk around. And usually I hear some audio. I'm not too sure why the audio is not working. There's our tree. I don't know what happened to it. Other than, oh, and I probably know why. I probably didn't add any. Probably need to add texture to it. Probably need to raise it a bit. Looks more like a bush. So we got ourselves some humongously tall hills. And of course, one of the other things you could do is you could jump. And you know what I do, and of course, you know the AWSD keys work on this as well. I can go up here and get to a certain point. And I'm going to go jump, 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 jump. And it's not going to let me go. I'm falling down. That's gravity. Because gravity sucks. And jump, 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 jump. And because gravity sucks, I'm not going anywhere. That's a great way to create something. I guess I gotta create some switchbacks in my mountains. Oh well. I'll go back down. Yeah, last time I did this, I had some little hills, and I had some little sub-hills that I made. And, oh, and there's our sun. So we got the ground, we got the earth and the sun and the sky. But it's pretty dull here, so I'm going to add another person. I'm going to add this guy. And he's pretty straightforward character. I don't know where the textures is for this guy. I don't think he comes with any. If he did, I wish I knew, because I would like to see him any other way but a white character with glasses. Oh, and by the way, he's, for some reason, I think he's called Eric. So, I'm going to grab this guy. And I'm just going to put him in the scene. Roughly there. And I'll zoom in a little bit so I can see him a little better. Click on him so I can zoom in on him. Now, one of the things you notice right off the bat, this guy's got a collider. That's what this little ring here is for. And let me bring him over. Whoops. Don't worry about trees, worry about him. And let's see. He's facing 0, 0, 0, so let's point him back at me. Let's make him 180. That way I can at least see him. Place him over here. And make him a little closer. I'll put him right here. Now, being a rigid body figure, now I know there's got to be some things here. I'll go ahead and run them. Yeah. And there you go. And right now, this is about the bulk of what he does. I mean, I think you can run into him, and he just shuffles aside. And that's about it. He has a wicked mohawk. One side. Yeah. Somebody put a lot of thought into this model. Did a good job. So we got ourselves the character here. Now, next character I'm going to throw in, I'm sure we're getting long on this thing, is I'm going to put in a ball. Put it in the roller ball. And let's see, put some space between me and him. There's me, there's him. And I'm going to grab the ball. And I'm going to put the ball right here. Yeah, that's good enough. And being stuck in the ground kind of sucks. So I'm going to go over. By the way, I'm using the right mouse button to change the eye view here. And let's see, let's go down here. Still selected that, and go up. In fact, I'm going to raise this up a little bit, just so when the thing goes, when the game starts, I want the ball to fall, and that will do. I'm going to go ahead and do a save scene, so it should be good. Let's check that out. It's pretty dull the way that ball lands. It kind of lands with a thud. And yeah, I was afraid of that. This is one of the things that's actually tied to you. Tied to your control. And we don't need a ball rolling around, even though it's kind of fun. So, even though that's one way, I guess you can, quick and dirty way that you can operate your ball. And motivate it around. In fact, it's kind of fun. Oh, almost got him. too far away. Boom. Nope. Not quite. I hit him. He just stood there. Well, I had enough fun with that. Let's go. Let's see what we're dealing with. Is this ball here? Roller ball, collider, rigid body, ball script, control. This is probably what I need to deal with right here. We got this thing called ball user control script. Well, I'm not really wanting to use that for the time being. I'm going to let it basically run on its own, so I'm going to turn that off. And what it will do is when I stop and run the game again, I can walk back from the ball and towards the ball, and the ball won't move yet. I'm pretty sure with my rigid body, yeah, I can move the ball. I can go ahead and move the ball, and the ball will move by itself. And I could play with the ball. Whoops. Sorry there. And pretty much have a ball. Pardon my pun. Yeah, it's far more interesting moving a ball this way, even though you probably want to add another collider of sort, probably invisible. And there it is. Your ball, your character, and no editing scripts. Ain't that cool? You didn't have zero programming effort to build, which is basically a guy, a ball, and you knocking this ball around. Oops, and you just knocked the guy over. No, he didn't do it. Yeah. Other things that you probably want to do in the future now, and from this point onward, you're probably going to be dealing with, adjusting the scripts. So this guy here has some AI behavior, and just standing there, acting stubborn, and I know. I guess some people can say he looks cool, but I think he just looks stubborn. And moving a ball. I guess one other thing I could do is I could probably color the ball, and that would be all right. I could change my collider, so or add a collider that would go over and kick the ball, so when I instead of jumping, maybe I can, or add another key in here, and I can kick the ball. Whoops. Sorry, lost picture again. Or I could just have a ball. But that would make for a boring video from this point forward. So anyway, there it is. You're very simple. No, I didn't have to do much game. No script editing of any sort. Just maybe turning some scripts off. That's about all it boiled down to. And with that, this will be the end of part 1 of this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Take care, all.